All right, tied up 1-1. We find ourselves in the ace match. And actually, guys, I'm trying to make an emoticon for that in the channel because it's been requested too much. We say it too much. We just gotta get it done. So I put a request to Hirona to make that up for us. You guys can look forward to it in the future. But spawning here in the top left corner of the map on merry-go-round, he finds himself up 1-1, tied up with his opponent in the qualifying rounds. It's my Insanity's Kane.
Yep, right as the Red Terran at CM Storm's Polt.
Alright, so there is definitely a little bit of luck mixed in with skill there from Kane. Really clever decision making, and that bailing buzz didn't look like it was going to be as effective as it was. But from that point on, there's a lot of little mistakes from Polt that really let Kane climb ahead. Now, I don't know, gold base or not, a lot of the moves that Kane made, I think, are what really impressed me in that game, and a lot less about his economy or his macro. That wasn't a game where we're sitting there like, oh, he's got 80 drones, fantastic, 4 bases, good to go, Kane. Like, that was a lot of the Mutalisk control, that sick Sniper Queen, whatever that was, and of course some of those bailing connects.
Yeah. Really do like that he went for that build too, you know, because Impact will do either one, and he is the person we see do the most 2-base mutas. He sometimes just go into the macro game, no big deal, as you said, like, okay, go up to the drones, right, no big deal. And sometimes he'll do that push, or that attack, that just sits right outside the Terran base. And personally, I guess since I lose to it so much, I think it's pretty strong.
I like that basis. That sounds like empirical evidence.
It does, for sure. It just set him up so well to actually abuse those mutas, which, I mean, I'm thinking more than the map King Sejong, it's just mutas, you know? And the fact that mutas are so good on King Sejong, that explains a lot. So mutas, good to go against Polt.
Well, there's a lot of points there I agree with, absolutely. The mutalisks, I think, are, it's just, as much as I'll be like, yeah, mutas are good units, mutas are cool, they can also be just terrible and horrible and get caught by Thor shots and Widowmines, and it's just... that's what makes this matchup so great. I mean, TVZ has like still always been my favorite because it can radically go so different for both players.
Great. Zerg players are like slapping their head right now, and Terran players are like, yeah, it's great, it's fantastic, let's go.
It's pretty dandy, it's cool. They changed the Thor AI, that was great. Actually, that was such a... Everyone was so focused on all these different changes. I think it was only Terran players at that time who were like, oh, they're changing the Thor AI. This is fantastic. This is like the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I remember that, yeah. And now people are regretting being all like, oh, Widowmine buff, ew. They should have been combating that Thor buff.
Well, actually, I think it's funny because there was that almost good solid 2 weeks where we almost saw 0 Mutalisks in competitive play because everyone thought the Thor change was that big of a deal.
Right. That's true. That is true. It's, you know, bringing back to the whole what have been seen lately, the fact that Polt seems to just have like that trip, that little hitch in his play against mutas is just so surprising because no one really goes for like mass mutas anymore. They are almost always made to be the Widowmine snipers, the medevac snipers, maybe a small counterattack here and there, but mostly just, you know, the accessory to your Ling Baneling army. But whenever Kane can get in there with his mutas, Polt just never seems to have everything quite in place, you know? He'll stay at the left side of his base for 20 minutes preparing for mutas, and he'll move out, and then suddenly mutas are in his base, and he's just like the unluckiest guy in the world.
Well, I like the wall off coming down quick. I mean, it is really fast to have like that 6-minute wall down, but what this pretty much guarantees is that you don't die to a roach all in, if that's what Kane was doing. So for Polt, this might seem a little bit silly to dedicate this quickly, but it's safety first when you're in your qualifying round. And again, for somebody like Polt, with his prowess, with his history, to not make it through these first 2 qualifiers, I don't think is like embarrassing or anything, but it's definitely frustrating for this guy.
Imagine what it is for the NA pro gamers, right?
It's hope.
As casters, right? As casters, we get to cast everyone, and like we're just like, oh, skill. Like, okay, Hydra's gonna be Polt, like big deal. But for the pro NA players to see the people that they were like gonna assume have those 4 spots or 16 spots, not actually get them, that would be.
I think it's inspiring. Amazing. Like, it sounds silly to say that, but I agree. Like, for someone like Intense, you know, one of the guys who was perhaps a little bit worried about these qualifiers doesn't quite make it just yet, but he sees like, oh, Scarlet got knocked out, Polt's been knocked out twice. All of a sudden, like, the realistic chance of you qualifying becomes so much more, I don't know, self-aware.
Yeah, I mean, just as like a regular player myself, it's good to be it's good to see that. Although even if the actual Premier League is harder, as it was of course conjoined with Europe, it's so nice to see these guys that everyone's like, well, of course the 4 spots are going to go to Jaedong, Polt, Violet, Hydra, but then if one of them doesn't make it, Polt, sucks for Polt, but hey, it's cool if it happens.
Just side note, like this whole cross server thing, I think is gonna get so dramatic when everyone starts complaining about lag. Like I really hope Blizzard's got something for that.
Let's not look towards the future. Well, they did change it so like the round of 32 is off, or the round of 16 is offline as opposed to just the round of 8 or something. I shouldn't have said that because I have no idea.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be interesting. They've changed it up, I think, is the bottom line, and that's the point I think you're trying to make. So it'll be cool to see how this goes. Polt though coming to the main with the Banshee. We got this Helene sitting outside, but Kane's got oh, Queens, please.
Queen.
Okay, they got the Overseer. They're going to the main. He's going for that Spire. I mean, 2-base play worked out from last time, so he's going for it again. This is not a bad choice, but I guess Polt doesn't go through. I thought for sure it was going to be one of those situations where, oh, there's nothing in the wall. Let's just squeeze in here with the Hellions, get a lot of drone kills.
Well, the thing is that even if you squeeze past the wall, the lings, like any amount of lings, even 8 lings is enough to just barely buffer against the drones. But there usually aren't too many, you know, drone barbecues. But when they were leaving, I was like, oh, now go in for sure. The Polt decides to just keep him back at home. They'll be useful later.
Couple Hellions still maintaining the watchtower control. Duelist Mute is finally coming out. And Kane actually jumps towards this third. I thought this would be something he may have waited for until after the damage started going out, but I guess he's feeling a little bit confident from the fact that he's taken no harass from Polt so far. Or I should say very little harass, more accurately.
Yeah, you know, he does kind of switch it up. He went for the attack last game and goes for macro this game.
I think the problem is though, even if you do go for this style Kane is, if Kane actually can't cause any damage, and both him and Polt just kind of slowly macro behind this, it always goes a little bit better for the Terran player. They always get that little bit of a supply edge after a couple of Widowmine shots, and interesting turret placement again at the Polt.
It can certainly happen.
This is like a really Korean thing we're seeing out of Terran players. Place those turrets not in the middle line where they can be repaired, but really weirdly off to the side. Yeah, I'm curious on the thought process. We'll have to get James to ask somebody for us.
I think so. Already though, I used to be like, you know, don't go 2-base beta versus bio, but not for the last like 2 months. It seems like even if you do go it, the slower upgrades don't seem to matter. I think what happens is that even if you don't do a lot of direct damage, as you can see, he's not really doing a whole lot of direct damage. It's, you know, keeping them in the base. If they do the medevac drops, they're risking something. If they move out, they're risking hitting banelings. This drop actually is going to do nope. Hits the queen. Okay, that's nice. But then, you know, it also controls the map, so there's better creep spread potentially when you do this type of build. So there's a lot of things you get from this that means that it is a alternative build as opposed to just like boring old 3-base macro up.
Yeah, this is it's. I would agree. Like a long time, Mutalisks on 2 bases were the only way to deal with, like, you would conceive like maybe Hellbat pushes, but it wouldn't justify it versus Marines. Marines are too good, but Kane doesn't quite see the drop. Okay, he does.
He does.
Let's avoid it. Yeah.
Yeah, probably better. He's not quite up there with the account. I want to be a Ling.
Guys, I could go explode too. Just give me a chance. Just give me a chance.
I could go explode too. It's like a child.
Yeah, well, it is. It's like the baby of although then they kind of make their children slave away, and that's kind of messed up.
Zerg is a little messed up.
Yeah, just in general. Okay, Polt does have a bit of supply lead. Again, this is one of those things you kind of expect to see happen. With a couple of good Widowmine shots, he'll definitely take a big lead on that, but Kane's 1-1 is not too far behind. He's got a good chunk of Banelings, and speed is done. If Kane takes an engagement on creep, he's almost guaranteed to take a good fight versus Polt. But Polt's also not silly enough to venture on creep without clearing it up first, so it'll be a slower push out of him, I imagine, but he should be able to handle this.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he didn't get the creep that was going towards where he's probably going to attack. Oh. You know, he didn't get the central creep.
I don't know if I love Kane taking this base so early.
He tried to get the other one, but Polt was on it, so...
Yeah, but it's just that 4th base causes so much trouble. It almost you better span down here, I think. I don't know, but Mutalisks do drive off all the SCVs in the main. You know, Polt lost his command center last game. I don't know if Kane's going to get lucky enough to do it again. It's a lot of Marines here.
It wasn't a bad trade. Lost the last beta. Oh, sucks.
On the way out, there's no turret at the 3rd. Kane realizing this in the last second is like, oh,
hey.
What a pleasant surprise.
Oh, exactly. Sad too.
I don't know why he's not dedicating to that more.
You gotta assume the Marines are coming to guard that.
I guess. And then there's a bunker.
Yeah, don't we get stuck between 2 Marine hordes and a bunker, so...
Well, the Mutalisks are gonna find a Marine horde. Oopsie poops. This drop at the bottom side of the map has been abandoned for now. We'll see if Polt uses that a little bit later.
It's the Polt drop. I'll see you later.
Yeah, the Kane Junk Station standard Polt drop. Okay, he sees it's here. Alright, pushing through the middle of the map. The supply differences are really not too harsh. Takes a Woodmine shot there. It's not too fun. Queen's gonna fall as well. Bit of a creep spreading important to Queen, but the baneling count is not as high as I think I'd love to see it. 26 is okay, but he's going to have to get really cost-effective trades with those banelings. The Mutalisks not trading us so well here in the south. Loses 2 to 3 to this drop. Ouch. +2 weapons hurts.
Polt's still, you know, it's not very rushed. Polt's never very rushed, of course, but, you know, Kane can feel a little bit confident knowing that his 4th base isn't going to quite be sieged up. No!
Okay, I think he saw it. Maybe? No!
How is that not shooting?
Because it's got to rearm. Like, every time something runs out of range, it has to retarget. But another one of my finds the kills anyway, so never mind. Okay, well, that could have gone worse. Yeah, for those who don't know, if you run out of the range of the Widowmine, it'll try and select something else, but what it'll do is grab the closest thing, and that closest thing's already running out of range of the Widowmine, so it won't go off because it has to keep retargeting.
Okay. I was also going to think that maybe it was in his hotkeys and he was moving around, or sometimes gets to reset, but either way, can't believe the thing did not go off. Creep spread in the middle has been cleaned up. That is what Polt was waiting for to really start pressuring 4th base.
Yeah, this is what we mentioned before. Like, Polt's not stupid enough to take a direct engagement on creep against somebody like Kane, so he knows he risked a lot in game 2. He's not going to take that risk in game 3. Kane's got a lot of banelings and a lot of Zerglings. We'll see how he can use them. Polt's got an army segmented up here to the north. One thing we didn't get to see out of Polt in that last game, crazy wild drops and multi-pronged attacks. Something that Polt used to be able to pull off almost every game we'd ever see him play, but, ooh, Zerglings engage a little bit too over-eagerly.
Disarm all the Widowmines, pull them away from whatever reason.
Yeah, the Marine count here, though, in the south isn't what he's got to worry about. It's the Marine count's coming from the north. He may have thought that Polt's army looks really small, and that's a good reason. It wasn't all here. So the baneling count might not be enough. The Mutalisks count looks really high, though. On 22, he might just be able to push this back, but there's still some Marines.
I think Polt's really going to regret leaving those Widowmines behind. There was only like 1 or 2 shots in there, but he does have the defender's advantage in this case, so he's not going to lose, but Kane doesn't feel any pressure either, and now he's starting to actually drone that 4th base, where if Polt hadn't gone down for whatever reason, I guess to clear up creep, I'm not sure, he could have been harassing that with drops.
Kane checks for 4th as well, realizing his opponent doesn't have one. He's going to be feeling pretty darn good right now. He's still not in a position where I think he can overwhelm and win, but supply definitely goes to the favor of Kane for a small time. But all the engagement Kane's going to be starting to take are going to be off of creep on Polt's side of the map. This is, as you said, defender's advantage. Picks off a Widowmine, nice shots. Kane's actually looking to move towards Hive Tech possibly. Not something you often see Zerg players get to versus Polt.
When you have this control, one thing he's missing is the Queen, so replanting that creep. Would really love to see that, but he's going to go in here.
Oh, the Widowmines go off on the Zerglings, not the Banelings, with so many Banelings flying through. We got that Thor micro going down, but the Banelings go to the mineral lines. Oh, the SCVs get wrecked!
And the Thor, he got the Thor in the medevac.
Oh, and it goes for the other one. Goes for the other one.
Marine army.
It's coming out, Zombie Grub. That's the problem. The Thor goes down as well. Kane is on the verge of victory. Polt is getting trapped within his own base. We got more Zerglings on the way. There's not a lot of Banelings behind us, but I don't know if the production can deal with this. There's too many Mutalisks. The Zerglings have 2 too.
Oh, Kane.
Kane's about to do it. We joked about it being the hope of hopes, but the forward hope has revealed himself. All the medevacs have gone down. Polt's natural base is getting swamped. Flings are picking off a couple of SCVs. A Thor sits at the natural base as Polt's real only army supply. Now, Polt did actually get a big counterattack, and he kills the main of Kane while this goes on. But it's not going to matter if he can't save his own.
Yeah, I mean, that did delay high, but you're right. Like, his production is swamped, and that is just usually death for Terran. Kane's
got this. Medevac's gonna go down to the Spore Crawler if not careful. Flying away! Fly away now! But yeah, the production's dead. The barracks are dying. Polt probably can't believe this. First to a Korean Zerg, then to a foreign gun game! Ladies and gentlemen, Kane will take the series 2-1 and qualify for WCS America 2015.